Hey
Hi,
everyone!
welcome.
Merry
That's better.
Christmas
Merry Christmas.
and welcome to More Than Money. We hope you're all prepared for Christmas. We hope the shopping's done. We hope all this stuff is all the
Yeah.
things that bring frustration with Christmas are done and
So the
and-
shopping. and-
Yeah, everything's done with. Because this should be a time of joy. This is when our Savior has come, and
Yeah.
we celebrate the birth of our Savior, our God, the provider of everything good. And sometimes though, it's not a happy time.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to shopping.
You don't like shopping to begin with.
I'm
though,
not a shopping type of guy, so it's not the best time for me. Luckily, I got a wife who is, and she does a great job of it. But have you ever stopped to consider what message your gift actually sends for you when you give somebody a gift? I mean, a lot of people just go out and they say, "We got to give presents. We got to get a present for 36 people. Here's what we just go, and they buy presents without thinking about what that present really represents. And oftentimes people think that the message they're sending really comes down to nothing more than how much money they're spending on that person.
Yeah.
And-
I've heard of the people. They put money limits on their gifts, and I don't think I've heard a single person say that they could stick to it because they wanted to portray a particular message with the gift they gave.
Yeah, there's so much frustration, guilt, anxiety that goes along when we start saying the value of the present is dependent upon the money we spend.
Yeah.
Instead of looking at it differently. Most people don't equate Christmas giving with a spiritual works.
No.
And yet
can't
we
say I've
should,
heard it.
because that's what it really is. They don't think of it as a negative. They see it as like a celebration
Okay.
of the time. They see it as something that's expected of them
Yeah,
way too
a little bit.
often. Some people actually just see it as self-expression, and they go hog hollow wild to just make something that brings attention to them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of crazy. But what I'd like to do is, if we could today, maybe to bring some peace in your life, some joy, some ideas, is to bring up the idea that it's possible that gift giving is a spiritual act, and it could be a spiritual act. And I know I just said to bring more peace and joy, and some people are saying, "Oh, great, Mark, you're talking about gift giving as a spiritual act now, and you're just laying a whole bunch more burden on top of me. Now I got to
Yeah.
please God with this gift, not only the people I don't want to give it to,
Okay.
or that I do want to give it to, or both,
Yeah.
So it could be very frustrating, very crazy, and it could cause some problems. But what if, just what if, instead of a burden, it actually lightened your burden? What if, instead of frustration, it actually brought peace by thinking about Christmas gift giving as a spiritual act? Here, first, giving, whether Christmas or any time, if done from a spiritual point of view, is actually a good work. Here to see it's teasing with us now.
All right, I think
So,
you're back.
okay.
Internet issues. Sorry.
So giving can be an act of good works, and if so, think about this: God doesn't place any burden on us that He doesn't equip us for. Have you ever thought about that? He may create a burden that we can't handle in and of
Okay.
ourselves, but not a burden that we can't handle with His power, His strength, His wisdom, His knowledge, His everything. So the frustration really comes when we try to take God's will for our life, even in gift giving, and try to improve upon it. In effect, when we step outside God's will in our life. So do you believe God would or would not actually, it comes down to, you believe God will equip you for what He asks you to do and enable you to do what He asks you to do, or give you the ability to deal with the outcome if you're not able to? Absolutely, right?
Yeah, I think it's a little harder with the gift giving. I think when it comes to spiritual, physical aspects, we always run back to the Bible and we say, God won't give me more than I can handle, or God will always, bring me up and pull me through it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to finances, we never really think of, oh, God gives me what I have and what I need right now. We always think we have to outdo what He has given us.
Exactly. Well, that's the problem, is that oftentimes we're trying to improve upon what God has given us the good works to walk in. He laid those before the foundations of the earth. And I'd like to propose to you every good work. That's what He's talking about. Every good work in your life, He's prepared you to walk in before He even created the earth itself. So He had it perfectly timed. It's kind of like we take on a burden that's not ours, and that's where the frustration comes in. It's not the amount of money you have or the time you have so much as it is going outside of the will of God when giving that takes the joy out of giving, because there's the perfect amount of joy. God knows exactly. No,
I think we're back.
are we back?
Sorry.
Okay. No,
we don't know what the issue is, but we'll continue.
Yeah, we'll continue. So let me give you a little example of what I'm trying to say here. It's as if you work, and this is something I wrote a long time ago, so just bear with me as I read it. It's as if you work for a company and the boss gives you a task of buying uniforms for the company. He then gives you the money to spend on these uniforms, which he knows is exactly what it'll cost for the uniforms he has asked you to buy. You then go out and start buying the uniforms for everybody that you like, but you buy better uniforms than what he asks you to buy. And possibly you even buy uniforms for people that don't work there because you don't want them to feel left out.
Okay.
So what you've done is you've taken this task that He's blessed you with, that He's entrusted to you as a good and faithful servant, and you tried to improve upon what the boss wanted. And in doing so, though, it's costing you money out of your own pocket, and it's costing you additional time to get the sizes and to make sure all those extra people who really didn't need uniforms at the company are getting uniforms, because you don't want them to feel left out, things like that.
Okay.
The extra responsibility you've taken on that really wasn't for you now causes anxiety and pressure. And that's what it's really all about. It's when we take on responsibility not given us by God that we experience frustration, loss of peace, loss of joy, because we're not equipped and have not been given the tools or resources to do a job we were not given permission to do. Pretty strong, huh?
Yeah.
Now, what's that got to do with Christmas? Well, how many people are running up credit cards, presuming upon the future, trying to buy presents and buy people stuff that's way beyond their means because they want to do more than what God has enabled them to do.
Yeah.
Now, I know there's another side of this. It might be, well, they feel guilty because they spent so much on themselves this year and they didn't save for Christmas, and they could have done more. But give yourself a break, It really comes down to trying to do more than God has enabled you to do sometimes. So I want some peace, some joy for you, for me, for everybody. So let's take a look at a way to do Christmas for next year, because it might be too late for this year unless you're a guy, and then Walgreens is
open 24/7. You still got time.
You still got time. But here's some thoughts. First of all, buying concepts for Christmas ideas. Make a list. Check it twice. No, sorry. Couldn't resist. Make a list, but take a piece of paper, divide it into 3 columns. So draw 2 lines down it, and in the first column, make a list of everybody you want to buy for. Okay, and it's that easy. Everybody you want to give a gift to, not necessarily buy for. Okay, and don't be discouraged by the number of names and all that kind of stuff. And at the top of the page, also write down how much money you have available that God has given you for Christmas to buy gifts with. It might be zero, it might be negative 250 because you're in debt and you got payments coming, or it might be $1,000 or something. Just write that at the top, but don't get discouraged. Just do it. Just it's not a problem. And remember, the amount you spend on a gift isn't what's important. Here's the bottom line on gifts. Gifts are carrying agents. You ever hear like, uh, a cigarette is a carrying agent for nicotine?
Okay.
Certain things are carrying agent for drugs. Well,
Okay.
effectively, a gift is a carrying agent for your love.
Mm.
And that's very important to think about. If you think about it that way, it isn't so much the gift as it is the love you're putting into the gift.
Okay.
That's important. And I'll explain that a little further. The gift is no more than a carrying agent for the message you're sending. It's the message. It's not the message that's important, but the messenger that is sending it, the love you're pouring into, okay? So in the first column, make a list of what I want you to do is make a list of those people that you want to get something for. In the first column, make a list of, in the next column, make a list of things that you could make for that person that doesn't cost a lot of money. Things you could do or make for that person. For example, maybe you know somebody who just could use some help gardening, or maybe you know somebody who would be very blessed if you just took them to the movies or something, or just picked them up and took them to the store because they need to go to the store, things like that.
Quick side note on that. I'm going to admit to something very weird here. A couple years ago, would make me 29 years old, I made my mom a handprint footprint painting. I bought a canvas and I put my handprint and footprint and wrote with my fingers, Steven 2015. She thought it was hilarious. That's like one of her
the best gift she got in a long time.
I feel like a big kid.
Yeah, it's right up next to her Picasso, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so making something, and see, that's what's important. He took the time to make something that would be lasting, and he knew who she was. So making something or giving of yourself, going over and doing something for somebody. You've seen those little booklets some kids make, clean my room,
The coupon
do the
booklets,
dishes, that kind of stuff. So make a list of those kind of things next to each person's name in the second column, okay? And then in the third column, here's some ideas of those, I'm sorry. A letter expressing love, catching up on things, sharing joys, etc. Maybe an invitation to a dinner that you cook. How about an invitation to a one-on-one outing, like a picnic, eagle watching, something like they like to do? Or, as you did, paint a picture, write a song, a poem, knit something. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Offer to babysit. I know so many young parents that would be so much better than another kitchen towel or Christmas ornament or something.
Noisemaker.
For me, and family, if you're listening, offer to clean my car. I love a clean car.
That's true.
I love a immaculate car, inside and out. I just love it. So, so anyway, so in the next column, make a list of everyone you wish to buy a present for, or how much you want to spend on that person if you were going to buy one. Okay. I'm sorry, that was up at the top. For the third column, write down either the amount you'll be spending on that person within the total that's up at the top, or what you'll be doing or creating for them. So now you have a list with a name, something you could do without spending any money, either making something or doing something for that person, and an amount you could spend on them. And then what you could do is start juggling and say, I know Mark's a sensitive guy, and he'd rather have me paint him a picture, put my life into something, than he would buy a picture for him.
True.
He'd rather, that would mean more to him, or maybe, so-and-so really wanted a new, a pen or a watch, or, so you just happen to know that. So maybe you write that down, and they really wanted that.
Yeah.
But when you get done, you can start juggling and figure it all out, and get it within your budget, and still be actually transmitting an act of love. So what it really comes down to is spending a little time thinking it through, instead of just going out and throwing money and credit card and plastics and robbing yourself of the joy and peace of Christmas. So for next year, get ahead of it. Somewhere in October, make that list of everybody you want to bless for Christmas, and then write down something you could do for them, make for them, or just share with them. Time you could share with them in a special way. And then consider whether that's even a much more better present than anything you could buy. And I'll tell you, I think most people would believe it is. What do you think?
Uh, it's funny you ask. A buddy of mine asked me what I wanted for Christmas the other day, and I told him I just wanted to go out and, have a nice dinner and talk and catch up. It would be 10 times better than another trinket that I'm going to forget in another year.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Hey,
we're
we're
back.
back.
So it actually binds. It actually increases your relationship, brings more love.
Yep.
People feel love when you give of yourself more than if you just give of money. Now, some people need money. Some people need things,
Yeah.
and that's okay too. I'm just saying that there is a way to bring more peace into your life, more joy into your life, and to give more love by spending time, donating your time, donating your creativity, donating things you can do instead of spending money you don't have, burying yourself till the next Christmas.
Memories, I think, last a lot longer than trinkets.
Absolutely.
Some of my most fond memories are getting together with my family every Christmas, and we bake specific food, and we all get the family Christmas picture on the couch, and there's the dogs, and it's absolute insanity. But I remember that over, I don't know, whatever I got last year. I have no idea.
I can't even remember what you got for Christmas, but you remember the fellowship. You
I remember the time and
the relationship,
the effort put into that.
Yeah, and so that's our gift to you this year. A little time we put into this to help you understand that your gift, whatever it is, whether it's of your time or something you create, something you make, or something you buy, is nothing more than a carrying agent of your love to that person. So when you're out shopping, if you're just picking up something, throwing it in the cart to say, okay, check that off my list, that person off, I got something for them.
Yeah.
Does that package, is it full of love? Is it care? Is it showing how much you really care about that person? Because it's not the dollar amount. It's what you put into it, and it might be. You may know exactly what they want,
Yeah.
and they may be very blessed that you did that for them.
I personally, I think that anyone watching this, I think that anyone who listens to this, maybe in the future, will, I don't know, eventually come to that conclusion. I hope.
Yeah.
Especially with more than money. That's one of the things that we want to focus on. This is more of an eternal perspective.
Yeah.
Last year, I don't remember what I got. I remember maybe some of it. I might use some of it. Some of it might be still sitting in the same box that it was in.
Regifting again.
Regifting.
I see how that
It's
goes.
the thought that counts.
Yeah, that's right.
But this is more of an investment. You invest in someone's life,
in your relationship with them.
Yeah, you're there to make it bigger, make it better, make it grow, and you're going to remember that for the rest of your life, plus
Absolutely.
eternity, than you would getting someone some socks or something. I love socks. Don't get me wrong.
No, I totally understand, and that's what it really comes down to. The goal here, again, as More Than Money Ministries, is to help you realize the fullness of Christ in your life, even through your finances. So you can do that even at Christmas without going into debt, realizing that you have so much more than money in your life. You have all the creativity, all the ability to do something for somebody, to give them something more than a tangible asset, give them something that lasts in their memory and forever as part of your relationship. And in doing so, recoup some joy, some peace, and get rid of a little of the materialism in the world that has been robbing Christians of the peace that surpasses understanding. And once you start doing that, once you start getting into that, you start thinking about, so and so wanted this room painted. I could go and paint the room for them for Christmas. Give them a little coupon, one free paint. Somebody is too busy, working that they can't get around their house cleaning. I could go over and clean their house. When you start doing that, all of a sudden, so many good ideas start coming out of it. One of my friends started building birdhouses for people, and people loved them. They were just blown away. It's like, what a great idea. I would have never thought about asking for a birdhouse. But then you go over to people's houses, and everybody's got these birdhouses now in their backyards, and they're worried about bird food and taking care of the
Yeah, wait a minute.
It's just so cool. That's what happens when you put yourself into walking in the good works he laid for you and not trying to improve on them, knowing that he is perfect. It comes down to trusting God, even in your giving. And remember what it says about giving. Give joyfully, gleefully. Actually, it means hilariously is a Greek word. He wants it to be so much fun to give that you just can't stop laughing. You're so overjoyed at giving. And it's just not because you're giving gobs of money. It's because you're giving love. You're loving on everybody. And that's our love on you for today. My hope is that you realize that God is perfect and he has a perfect path for your life. And on that path is incredible good works that are perfect in size and amount and time. And he's going to equip you for all that. And you get to come along. He doesn't need your help. He doesn't need my help. But he invites us to come along and partake in all these good works. And when you start doing that, you start realizing that life is
so much more
than money. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.